Hello again everyone, welcome back to Daily Downshift. My name is Orest. Today's video will be divided into two parts. First, I'm covering the good and the bad about the resuming C8 production, and secondly, I'm talking about an interesting new mod. So let's get right into it. Now, I've mentioned that there's both good and bad news. I'll begin with the bad. About a couple of weeks ago, I made a video claiming that the Bowling Green plant would open around May 18th. However, I can now definitively confirm that the week of May 25th is the set date on which the plant will resume operations. So the bad news is that there is a slightly longer delay, but not really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Either way, you can trust that some employees and managers will actually be at the plant preparing PPE and obviously involving themselves in retraining so that they can hit the ground running on May 25th. That being said, the second bit of bad news is that they will now only be utilizing one shift of workers instead of the usual two as it was prior to the pandemic. Therefore, the C8s will be churned out at a much slower rate than usual. But let's not get too down on ourselves and switch over to something a little bit more positive. The good news is that some Corvette suppliers have stayed open utilizing what's called a skeleton shift. And exactly as it sounds, it implies that they have stayed open, operating at bare minimum in order to keep production of parts ongoing. For example, one of those parts is the chassis that is actually made in Bedford, Indiana. By running at minimum capacity and by switching to only producing for the Corvette C8, meaning that they stopped producing for every single other model, they were able to reduce a potential chassis shortage. Apparently they had less than 10% of the workforce during the pandemic, but they just kept at it. And I think this is something to be thankful for. Many of these suppliers could have simply shut their doors and it would have made no difference when the Bowling Green plant reopened because they wouldn't have enough components to put together any physical C8s. So in my books, this is a big win. The other good news goes hand in hand with the aforementioned. So it's true that some suppliers did shut down and couldn't operate on a skeleton shift, but they are returning to work 1 week before the C8 plant reopens. For example, the Tonawanda powertrain plant that obviously produces the LT2 engines for the C8 will have employees back to work on May 18th, meaning that the engines will steadily keep coming in as production begins to resume. Now, to shift gears, I have a different bit of news regarding the Corvette C8. And I'm not really too sure how this one will be received, but I'd just like to state that I'm personally not a big fan of it, but it kind of makes sense. And please let me know in the comments below if you would consider this modification. What I'm trying to get at is there's a company that is now offering a kit for your Corvette C8 which will allow you to open your doors upwards, aka scissor doors or Lamborghini doors, whatever you want to call them, they go up instead of swinging outwards. Now, you might ask, what the heck were they thinking? Well, the Corvette is now a mid-engine and it's pretty much a supercar, so I guess this was somewhat inevitable. If you're curious about the asking price for the kit, it's $2,999, which includes gas shocks, 2 vertical doors with hinges, and all the mounting hardware you need to complete the job. However, if you don't have the experience to install scissor doors, fear not because you can just fork out $4,300 and they'll do it for you. It might seem like a lot of money, but don't forget that you do get a lifetime warranty if the company located in Scottsdale, Arizona does it for you. And another benefit is that the process is apparently completely reversible, which is pretty useful because I have a feeling people are constantly going to keep asking you which new Lamborghini model you're driving, to which you're just going to have to keep responding, it's not a Lambo. Alright guys, that's going to be all from me. Let me know in the comments below when you think these Corvette C8s are finally going to be leaving the factory. And secondly, share your thoughts with me about the scissor doors. Is this something you would consider doing to your vehicle, or is it just unnecessary? As always, thank you for your continued support. If you enjoy our content, I would appreciate if you would consider subscribing, and while you're at it, give us a big thumbs up as well. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, everyone.